Once again, welcome to our another topic in FEDUC, the different educational philosophies. In this lesson, we are going to enumerate the different philosophy under the education. And you're going to describe each philosophy and write your own philosophy in teaching. So aside from the book that we are using, I also added some educational philosophies that may be of help to you as you review your LET. So these are the educational theories. We have idealism, pragmatism, progressivism, existentialism, essentialism, perennialism, reconstructionism, experimentalism, constructivism, behaviorism, naturalism, and realism. So actually, there are many educational philosophies from the different references, but these philosophies are the focus of this lesson. Idealism holds that knowledge is independent of sense perception or experience. It is more on intrinsic rather than extrinsic. So, idealists believe that life should be preoccupied with intangible and spiritual things. It emphasizes the development of values in the student, values that are based on long-held principles and standards of morality. So in this philosophy, individuals' freedom should be emphasized and guaranteed. So education should provide for the development of the mind of a person. It is a subject matter centered curriculum. So schools concentrate on intellectual, moral, and aesthetic development of students. So an idealist teacher is of course expected to be a role model to the students in terms of intellectual, moral, aesthetic, and vocational excellence. So teachers should teach by example. A teacher can influence a learner and employs questioning, lecture method, discussion, and imitation strategy. How about pragmatisms? Of course, from the Greek word pragma, which means a thing done. So we know that pragmatism is learning by doing. It focuses on the total development of the child through experience. Education is life. Education is growth. It is a social process and the construction of human experience. So pragmatism is based on the concept of doing, believing that the learner must be at the center of all educative process. So we have here John Dewey, Charles Peirce, and William James as proponents. So in this philosophy, there are many opportunities and activities that are relevant to the needs, abilities of society. Subjects that are practical must be offered, of course. So in pragmatism, so students are the ones to do the task. So in this philosophy also, the teacher provides a variety of learning opportunities where students can learn by doing. A teacher is a facilitator of learners, guides them, and encourages them to actively participate through group activities. For the progressivism, it claims that the child's growth and development depends on his or her experiences and self-activity. So it focuses on the child's interests, desires, and freedom rather than the subject matter. For progressivism, learning is dynamic or active process, and the learner learns best if he or she is an active participant in the learning process. So, critical thinking and reasoning are emphasized in this philosophy. Progressivism also recognizes the principle of individual differences. So, through that, there are a variety of learning opportunities for the students to suit their abilities. So that is why the method of instruction should be group discussion and group activities. Because a progressivist teacher allows his students to explore and experience and bring out the best in him through the activities provided. So we have here the hands-on, minds-on, hearts-on, or homoho, and problem-solving activities. Of course, there should be an active learning because learners are the active participants. And a progressivist teacher updates trends. That is why in your lesson, you should have trivia or incorporate trivia in your lesson plan. For existentialism, the proponent is Soren Kierkegaard. He is a Danish philosopher who argued that human existence was marked off from all other kinds by a person's power to choose. If a person has developed and is aware of his own identity, he will be able to find meaning and purpose for his existence. Existentialists regard also classroom as a market of free ideas because students are the ones who can be another source of idea aside from the teacher. So the teacher here doesn't monopolize the idea, rather solicit ideas from her students. In this philosophy, there is a complete individual freedom. Students are free to choose what they want in their lives. Of course, teacher acts as facilitator, and the teacher employs a variety of activities that will enable the students to think. So therefore, an existentialist teacher helps the learners understand and explore their meaning of existence, let them make choices, and provide self-directed learning. So meaning to say, students are allowed to learn on their own pace in an existentialism philosophy. In essentialism, transmit traditional moral values and intellectual knowledge, schools are considered agencies for the propagation and perpetuation of cultural traits and values. So aside from that, the essentialists believe that schools should inculcate in the minds and hearts of students the values that are considered important by society. So what is important, what is needed in the community must be taught in schools. So, like for example, if the values among our learners are deteriorating, you can think of what to teach them in the classroom if you are an essentialist teacher. So if you think that there is a problem in the behavior of your students, what is the essential learning that they have to know or to learn as an essentialist teacher? So in this kind of philosophy, the teacher is the one who gives the lecture, so lecture method, and of course serves as intellectual and moral model of the students. So for example, for elementary, What is essential for the elementary learners to learn? Of course, the very basic foundation of knowledge, the 3 R's, right? And of course, the skills, self-help skills, and also the values, how to respect elders, so how to obey their parents, so things like that. So in here, the teachers can decide what is most important for the students to learn. For the method of instruction, of course, they emphasize mastery of the subject matter. Teachers here serve as a fountain of information and a paragon of virtue. Since the essentialist teachers are the ones where the students are getting the information from, so it is expected that the teacher has to master his subject matter. So they also use textbook, drill method, and lecture method. So there is a heavy discipline. I also added some educational philosophies, just like perennialism. Perennialists believe that we are all rational animals capable of thinking and reasoning, so school should develop the students' rational and moral powers. Education is preparation for life, and the task of education is to impart knowledge of beauty, goodness, and truth. So students should be taught of basic subjects. So keep in mind that the perennialist classrooms are centered around teachers. So the teachers here do not allow the students' interest or experiences to dictate what they teach. So it's teacher-centered. The teachers are the one to decide what teaching method should they employ in their classroom. So they are more on disciplining the student's mind. They employ Socratic dialogues. And also there is a less emphasis on vocational and technical education. So another philosophy is Reconstructionism, or in other reference, it's Reconstructionism. So this claims that although the school itself has not taken a lead in social reform, it could cooperate with movements already underway that advocated a more thoroughly realization of liberal education reforms and cultural values. So in here, education must commit itself to the creation of new social order that will fulfill the basic values of our cultural heritage. And the ultimate means and ends of education must be fashioned and shaped to meet the demands and the challenges of the existing cultural crisis in accordance with the findings of the behavioral and social sciences. So it's more on social awareness and social reforms. So a reconstructionist teacher prepares learners to become responsible citizens, manages classroom and learners. He is a social activist and promotes problem-solving method for real-life situation. So experimentalism, this is a practice of relying on experimentation using empirical data that are valid and reliable to establish the truth. So it stems primarily from the work of John Dewey, who emphasized the importance of experimentation, experience, and learning by doing. So an experimentalist teacher teaches her students how to think and promotes innovation, project method, basic research, and scientific methods. Another is constructivism, wherein learners are taught how to learn. Classroom is interactive and the teacher's role is to facilitate learning. It is a student-centered classroom environment. Therefore, a constructivist teacher establishes connections between ideas, believes in diversity of learners, and allows learners to work individually and in groups. So you are a constructivist teacher if you provide your learners a variety of strategies or learning opportunities. So in a classroom setting, so the teacher provides students with experiences that allow them to hypothesize, predict, manipulate objects, pose questions, research, investigate where they can learn while doing, and of course, classroom is interactive. So there is an exchange of ideas among the learners and between the teacher and the learners also. So it is the role of the teacher to facilitate the process of learning. For the behaviorism, it's more on modification and shaping of students' behaviors by providing them a working or learning environment that are favorable or conducive to learning. So in order to realize that, the teacher has to arrange environmental condition, the classroom setup, so that students can learn better in a good classroom environment. So there are also reinforcement, also some motivational strategies to keep the students engaged and arouse their attention and curiosity to the lesson. A good behaviorist teacher is a good manager of students. She is capable of handling students' behavior in the classroom. So that is a behaviorist teacher. We also have this philosophy of naturalism. So a naturalist teacher makes the classroom as an ecosystem child-friendly. He employs outdoor activities, hands-on activities, songs, and games. You are a naturalist teacher if you want examples of nature. If you love taking your students outside the garden, for example, to explore and observe things around them, or if you integrate the learning of the students to protecting the environment. Also, we have realism, based on what is real as they are, acquired by forming images of sensory experience and associations. So we have here Plato and Aristotle as the proponents. So you are a realist teacher if you are a subject matter expert. If you love research work and you let your students engage also in research work and experimentation. You love drills and organized presentation of ideas. Here are some additional information that you can refer to, like the pedagogical approaches in the K-12 curriculum. We have this constructivist who let students construct their knowledge, maybe based from their past experiences or from the stimuli given to them. And then also we have inquiry based. We'll let our students do problem solving activities, do research. Also reflective analysis. We let our students reflect on their behavior, on their learning after the lesson. Collaborative So meaning to say, we'll let our students work together as a team. We encourage group activities. And integrative, which we integrate our lesson to other fields of specialization. Like for example, science, we integrate it in math or in values. So that those are the approaches in the K-12 curriculum. So for your activity, create a picture gallery of the educational theories and place them in your journal. So for your pair think share activity, get a partner and complete the table of educational philosophies, which you have to paste also in your journal. And for your group activity, you have to come up with a puppet show presentation showcasing the different educational philosophy. So that's it for today's lesson. Thank you everyone for listening.